you stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bam, bam, bam! Over.
Wow. 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 Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? First things first, let me go ahead and give a shout out to, here, let me see, where's his name right here? I'm trying to pull his name up. I want to make sure I get his name right before I start this video. Let me see, I'm looking for this guy's name in my comments. He just sent me this link right now. The Jazz Musician. Shout out to the Jazz Musician. He just sent me this link with this Golden Boy situation where some extremely racist emails have been leaked, and it was reported on bloodyelbow.com. Now, someone else has sent me this link a while ago, but they didn't explain exactly what it was. So when I clicked on it, it just looked like it was an article about the lawsuit between Golden Boy and, Al Haymon, just like the articles that we seen before, Top Rank versus Al Haymon. And it was an extremely long article. So, a lot of times I just scroll through stuff. I don't try to read long articles. I just want to get the gist of what they're talking about, and then I may make a video or whatever the case may be. But I didn't scroll all the way down to the bottom to where it gets into the real deep shit. Now, with that being said, for the people who haven't seen this article, basically, because Golden Boy and Al Haymon, they're in this lawsuit right now, and Golden Boy, they're trying to basically exclude certain things from the lawsuit. So let me go ahead and read exactly what Boxing Elbow had basically reported, boxingelbow.com. So these are supposed to be Balderas' emails. This guy is actually a boxing journalist. He's a boxing journalist. His name is Ezekiel Balderas. Let me read this whole paragraph right here. Okay, Golden Boy is trying to exclude 15 emails between journalist Ezekiel Balderas and Golden Boy's public relations director, Ramiro Gonzalez. In certain emails, Balderas describes Al Haymon as a nigger and a black Hitler. This is unbelievable, guys. Now, let me go ahead and just read part of the email, or maybe I should say one of the emails. So basically, the email starts off, at least the first part of the email on this article, it starts off, says, yes, but we need fight news and boxing scene. And then Balderas, he responds by saying, I think my article goes deeper into what that nigger is doing. Now, what's really interesting is Ramiro Gonzalez, he had to do a deposition, and he was asked in the deposition to translate the parts of the email that was in Spanish. And the part in Spanish was basically Balderas calling Al Haymon a black Hitler and saying how he ruined Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz's career, etc., etc., etc. Outside of being exposed as racist, you know what's really incriminating? The fact that these writers and Golden Boy employees, they are affiliated and associated with the biggest boxing websites in the sport today. And they're also obviously affiliated with one of the biggest promotional companies in the sport of boxing today. I mean, the fact that this racist guy was so comfortable to keep dropping boxingscene.com, fightnews.com in the email, talking about, oh man, we're going to write an article. I can't wait to write another article. I think my article goes deeper than what this nigger is about. The guy is talking so comfortably as if everything that he is saying is understood. Let me really start by saying this. I tell you guys this all the time. You can lock the truth up, throw away the key. Eventually, that truth is going to find a way to break free. The truth may not always break out when you want it to, but you give it some time and it will definitely surface. I've been telling you guys on this channel since day one. When Al Haymon first came out, I was the first person to tell you guys that all of this hate is based on nothing but race. I remember when Al Haymon first started to emerge, you had people that were so afraid to even give Al Haymon credit because they didn't want to be associated with the backlash. That's how bad it was. And I continue to praise this man for the great work he was doing for the sport of boxing. I continue to expose the racial double standards that was linked to Al Haymon's name. And what did the decaf say? When I would expose these racial double standards, they would get so angry. This has nothing to do with race. Just because I don't like Al Haymon has absolutely nothing to do with race. And you know what's so crazy? The ones that get the most heated are often the most racist out of the bunch because they feel so guilty. Since day one, I've been breaking this down to you. It's only common sense. A man that has never done an interview before is hated more than Bob Arum, and I shouldn't even say more than, because Bob is not hated at all. So let me rephrase that. A man that has never done one single interview is hated over a Bob Arum who does millions and millions of interviews. He's been doing interviews for the last 50 years. And Bob Arum, he's so comfortable, he doesn't even care if he contradicts himself. And they still don't hate him. This is what I mean, guys, when I say everything that you hear from these decafs, when it comes to what they say about a black fighter, a black promoter. Al Haymon is a piece of shit. He's the cancer of the sport, etc., etc. Andre Ward is boring. I hate him. There's something about this Deontay Wilder. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like him. I actually got a comment like that right after Deontay Wilder knocked out Spilka. Someone said that. There's just something about this guy. I don't know what it is, but I just hate him. I just don't like him. Right after he gets one of the most vicious knockouts, that enraged you even more. Like I always tell you guys, when you're on a coincidental list, it's the contrary. The more successful you are, the more you are hated. You know, let me go ahead and get back to Golden Boy before, I spit some more truth. I may have to do a couple videos on this topic, but going back to Golden Boy Promotions, this is a bad look for Golden Boy Promotions. And what's really interesting is I remember Oscar De La Hoya came out kind of like a politician when everyone was talking about race, or I shouldn't say everyone, but I think it was around the time that Floyd Mayweather was talking about racial double standards. And I remember Oscar De La Hoya, he responded by basically saying something like, there's no racism at all in the sport of boxing. This is basically what he was saying. Now, for Oscar De La Hoya to say something like that, and then we find out he has employees that are calling black people niggers and black Hitlers on a regular. I mean, to the point to where when the other person, Gonzalez, he hears Balderas say this, and he responds like, this is just the normal thing you call a black person. That's how we see them. It doesn't matter. And you know, it's something else that's crazy is when you're calling Al Haymon this nigger and et cetera, you're admitting that this really has nothing to do with what you think Al Haymon is doing bad, because once you start to identify him as a racial slur, that means you feel that way about black people in general. So these are the employees that work for Golden Boy Promotions. And what makes this situation so ironic is we have heard black boxers that were signed to Golden Boy say that Golden Boy doesn't care about black fighters. I mean, the fact that you have boxers that were signed to Golden Boy who feel this way, and now this email comes out, this is really a bad look for Golden Boy Promotions. And Oscar De La Hoya, he needs to come out right away and reprimand Gonzalez and Balderas. I don't understand how this guy is still even working for Oscar De La Hoya if Oscar knows that this guy is doing this. I mean, if you're the chief of police and you know some of your officers are KKK members and you don't say anything about it, then you're obviously just as guilty as they are. Or you don't do anything about it. You don't fire them. You don't let them go. Then that makes you just as guilty. The only way Oscar De La Hoya wouldn't fire an employee like this is if he feels, hey, that's normal. That's not worth firing someone. I mean, being racist towards black people, come on, that's normal stuff right there. Is that the way Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy treats situations like this? Something else that's really interesting. You know how I always tell you guys, the majority of boxing fans, unfortunately, are decafs. And you know decafs, it stands for dumb casual ass fans. Now, there's a wide range of definitions when it comes to what a decaf truly is. A decaf can be a racist fan. It could be just an emotionally attached fan. It could be a fan that doesn't really know too much. He's just literally a casual fan and he really doesn't know a whole lot. He's kind of uneducated. Or it could be all of the above, right? The reason why I bring that up is because that explains why the mainstream media, ESPN, BoxingScene.com, and all of these huge websites, that's why none of them are reporting this, because they're all in the same game. How else can you explain it? Once again, you have a straight out racist who keeps dropping BoxingScene.com's name as if they are associated and affiliated. In Boxing Scene and Fight News, they condone this type of behavior. If Boxing Scene and FightNews.com, if they didn't condone this type of behavior, they would have came out and denounced this guy Balderas as a journalist, right? They would have came out and said something like, we want to let people know we're not affiliated with this type of behavior at all. We don't condone this. We don't subscribe to this mess. You would think that they would say something like that. But once again, the fact that Jim Lampley, the Grand Wizard of the decafs, the fact that he has went on rants on his TV show talking about Al Haymon, and this is what I mean, guys, when I say all of this is code words. You see this email right here, it revealed what they are really calling you when they say you're boring, when they say you're the cancer, when they say I can't stand that guy, etc., etc. So Jim Lampley is going on a rant talking about how much he can't stand Al Haymon. Let's see if Jim Lampley is going to now go on a rant and talk about this situation with Golden Boy. How many of you guys think Jim Lampley is going to do that? How many of you guys think Dan Raphael is going to talk about this? And if he does do it, it's only going to be if enough pressure is put on him and he has no other choice. Once again, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up for now. But like I told you guys, for all you decafs that get so upset because I speak the truth and I expose these racial double standards, now you see it with your own eyes. And I know you're going to still act like you don't see it. You're going to still play dumb, but you see it with your own eyes. So I'll close with just saying this. Hopefully, Oscar De La Hoya, he does the right thing, gets rid of employees like this, and he lets it be known, which I know is most likely not going to happen, but it's wishful thinking. But at the end of the day, it's Oscar De La Hoya that has to deal with the repercussions. So let's see what happens. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo!